In this session, we brought three Amazon listing optimization experts to share best practices, how to optimize Amazon product listings to get more conversions and more sales. This session is part of Seller Fest online virtual event, which is sponsored by two great companies. The first one is VA Academy. They provide virtual assistants for Amazon businesses. So their assistants, VAs, are specializing in helping Amazon sellers. So check the link below in the description. And Getida helps with the FBA reimbursements. They can maximize to get as much reimbursements as possible. Amazon owes you money. And check their offer and link below in the description as well. And we will have three experts, and we will host this session together with LISETT. Liz, she works with different Amazon brands, and with Orange Click. Hi, LISETT.
Hi, Augustas. Great to be back here with you to host this next awesome session. And we do have more than one expert this time, so I will invite all of them to the stage right now.
Let's invite all 30. So let's start. Click, 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 click. Oh.
So no, actually, we only have three. So we have Amy, Emma, and Clayton. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. So very quickly, in maybe 10 words or 1 minute, maybe you can introduce what do you do in Amazon space, and then we will jump to some questions. So Amy, please start.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Weiss, and I am the founder of Amazing at Home e-commerce consulting, and we offer courses, copywriting, marketing services for Amazon and e-commerce sellers. And I'm also the co-founder of the Mexico Trip and Evo Latam trade show, helping people source from Mexico.
Great. Emma.
Hello, I'm Emma Schermer-Tamir. I am the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma, and we help brands really connect with who they are so that they can communicate effectively with their dream customers, be that through listing optimization, website copy, branding, all of that stuff that helps people get excited about what you're selling and why they should choose you over all of the other options out there.
Clayton.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do it in 10 words. I don't think I've ever said just 10 words in a sentence. But hi, I'm Clayton Atchison. I'm community ambassador at Carbon 6. I have about 10 years of an e-com experience. I've sold over $20 million in stuff online, and I've been doing private label for the past 5 years. Always love helping people and coming into things like this to where we can, keep up to date because Amazon's ever changing. But happy to be here.
All right.
Very good. Yeah, so throughout the session, everyone watching us live can ask questions from all of these three experts, and we will discuss everything. But first, you all have different backgrounds. So as a first question, we would actually ask every one of you to answer. So can you say what describes a well-optimized product listing in your opinion? And maybe any of the ladies want to start first.
Sure, I'll dive in. A well-optimized listing is a listing that is performing in the way that you need it to. So it's converting as many people as you can, but also converting the right type of traffic so that you're really able to generate as many positive reviews, positive experiences, and overall just a well-honed machine that is able to sell your product for you.
Love it. It's awesome. I'll chime in after that. Everything Emma said, plus. I really think it's important. A well-optimized listing not only includes search engine optimized keywords from both off of Amazon and on Amazon, because if the customer can't find you, they can't buy from you. So it's really important you don't just have pretty copywriting and nice photos. You also have a search engine optimized listing. That is step one. And then step two is making sure that you're taking the customer on a journey. You're connecting with them and you're helping them make a buying decision, and you're helping them decide to buy from you and not your competition. And that is just key, making sure that all of your photos and everything are taking them on that journey and helping them understand who you are and why they should buy your product.
And Clayton.
Yeah, everything they both said. And just to reiterate what Amy's saying, There was a big survey that I got from Vanessa Hong that they interviewed hundreds of sellers, and the ones with the highest profit margins, the biggest growth rate, and the most recurring customers, they all said that one thing was their like competitive advantage, which each on the survey, they could only pick one thing. And it was brand story. So what Amy's talking about is like very important, that if you can sell a story, that's what's separating people on Amazon, because we know there's a lot of very similar products and people are trying to compete on images and videos and things like that. If you can compete on your story, that seems to be winning based on all data that we have. And then number two, I would just say is that it's like an optimized listing that was a perfect listing 2 years ago. It's not now. Amazon brings so many new things. So play the Amazon game. An optimized listing is like taking advantage of every single piece of like white space that Amazon offers, whether that be posts, related video, shorts, etc. You need to be everywhere you can be. That'll help you, fit what Amazon's algorithm wants you to.
All right. So I think from creating the story, let's go straight to talking about copywriting a little bit, because it does play a big role in the Amazon product listing. So Emma, can you share what are some of the best practices for doing Amazon listing copywriting? What are some do's and don'ts for the sellers?
Yeah. First of all, copywriting starts before you ever put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, which is really doing your research, not just research about your product, not just research about your competitor, but also research about who you're selling to. You really need to have a very clear understanding of all of those things. And then what Clayton was speaking about, this brand story, that is that element that you need to make sure that you are carrying through every single piece of your copy. And it's not just about the story, but it's really thinking about how to position your product in a unique way. So you really need to have all of that thought out, everything outlined. And then the words are really just the way that you communicate those things. So as far as, what to do and not to do, things like everything that somebody needs to understand about your product and nothing more. So a lot of times we write to impress ourselves, oh, wow, that sounds really great. Or yeah, I think this is awesome. But you always want to make sure that the customer is at the center of every single decision that you're making, so that they're getting the information that they need and they're getting excited. If it's just for you, then it's probably not going to function in the way that you need it to.
All right. And you already talked a little bit about having the customer in mind and knowing the customer. So Amy, maybe you can share a little bit how sellers could learn more about their customers and also learn about like their buying behavior on Amazon.
Yeah. So, I think it's so important, as Emma talked about, when you're thinking about copy and brand story, one of the first things that we do before we write a listing is we actually start by reading blogs and following the same customer journey. It's important for people to understand that only 50% of Amazon's traffic goes directly to Amazon to buy a product. The other 50% comes from off of Amazon, and 60% of that comes from search, like the search engine. So what does that tell you about a customer's buying behavior? In most cases, unless they're just buying toilet paper or something that they buy all the time, they're buying a refill of, right? They're doing research. They're asking questions. They're looking for experts out there that are, for example, if I'm looking for the best dog chew toy, I'm going to go read articles about, if I'm trying to get my dog to stop chewing, I'm going to go read articles about how do I get my dog to stop chewing? And I'm going to read articles from the ASPCA. I'm going to read veterinarian recommendations. And so remember that when you're trying to connect with your customer through your story, remember that they've done this research. They have listened to these experts. They have connected with the solution. And if you're not really thinking about that when they are making a purchase and the way that you're communicating to them, you're not going to convince them to buy yours. So many people just think about keywords and then they just kind of like throw a bunch of keywords in there and then they kind of just like copy their competitors' photos. But what if you were to actually understand the problem and solution in the customer's mind that they're dealing with when they're thinking about buying your product? Go out there and read the blogs. Go out there and Google the problems. Watch a few YouTube videos that are highly viewed about the solution to that problem. get in that vernacular, get in that understanding, and be able then to communicate so much better than your competitors about that. And then you're going to also understand what else they want to buy with it. You're going to understand how to differentiate your product in a way that matters, right? Because you can look at bad reviews and differentiate your product, but that might not be in a way that matters to them when they're doing their research. So you need to do that research too. And it's as simple as a Google search and going down the rabbit hole, reading those blogs, clicking through different discussions online, everything like that. And that's the best way to understand buyer behavior.
And can I chime in to that, please? To sort of tie what Amy was saying, because she makes so many great points, back to the copywriting process, is that's doing your research. So then how do you actually translate that into thinking about what should the content of your bullets be and your imagery and your A+ content and all of that? And if it's something like, okay, I want to make my dog stop chewing, asking that question of why does it matter to people that their dog is chewing? Is it because it's destroying the carpet? Is it because it's, has like all this energy and they don't know what to do with it? What are those root causes, and what are those root emotions behind wanting to spend money to solve this problem? And so using the way that you actually structure your content and the way that you use your words to connect with people in that way will take this buyer behavior and turn it into a really strong sales tool that you can use to, set yourself apart from all of the other competitors that are out there.
And I would add to that, just like coming from a finance perspective, use data. Like I have never launched a product that there weren't similar products already existent, like already on the Amazon platform. So look at brand analytics and like inside of the product opportunity explorer, see which brands are converting, see which competitor products are converting, and look at what they're doing with their copy. And then last but not least, use PickFu. PickFu is a great tool where you can say, hey, here's a copy from company number 1, number 2, number 3. Which one would you pick and why? Like what's compelling about this copyright? And get data. I like data. So I'd say get some data.
All right. So we have a question from Angelo. He wants to know, can you share some do's and don'ts on the Amazon product listing optimization? It's a very broad question. Who wants to start the discussion?
Well, I can start from an SEO perspective. As far as do's and don'ts, you do want to do keyword research, but you don't always want to go for the most high volume keyword phrases, right? You want to get more relevant. So when you're choosing your keywords for your research, make sure that you choose those medium to long tail keywords and that you actually keep them intact in your listing. This is something when I review people's listings that I see over and over again. People will put individual keywords smattered throughout the listing. And if you search on Amazon, you'll notice there's like some suggestions there. You'll see that people don't generally just search for water bottle, right? The keyword water bottle, that's probably searched 100,000 times a month on Amazon, right? Whatever you're selling, you need to get relevant with it. You need to get specific, and you need to keep those keywords intact throughout your listing. And then my second big tip there would be to actually write your story first, write your copy first, so that you're connecting with the customer. It's super readable, and then add your keywords in. Because often if you have this long list of keywords and you're like, okay, I'm going to create an optimized listing. It's awesome, right? You have this long list of keywords and you're just trying to like fit them in wherever, then your copy isn't very good, right? Because it's not, it's not following a storyline, right? So make it follow that storyline. Really, if you research the sales process, you can really help customers understand, what they should be thinking about. And then when you do that, you can then use those bullet points in that copy as photo layout ideas. The other common mistake that I see is that people will plan their photos first before doing all the customer research, that buyer behavior research. They'll just put their photos out there or get their photographer to do the photos. but they won't provide any layouts. And then their listing is awesome. Like it gets into all the pain points. It's great, but nobody reads the listing, guys. Like they only read the listing to scan over. If you ever look at the data points and the heat maps from Amazon, they're looking at those photos and they're just scanning. People go from left to right, right? Photos are first, and then that on mobile, obviously your photos are showing up and then you see your bullet points. So don't rely on your copy to convert the customer. Write the story first, then add the keywords, and then make sure that your photos represent the story that you just told in the copy, and you will take them on that journey. Then when they're scanning over your content, it's going to be an easy sale.
All right.
Just a quick thing to add, and I completely took this from Vanessa Hung as well. She, I think, won like a contest for best hack at some place. There's 66 million Hispanic speakers in the United States. They have $2 trillion in spending power. Do keyword research, do a reverse ASIN search on any of your competition or your own product, and get the keywords that are being searched in Spanish. On Amazon.com, if you switch the flag from US to Spanish speaking, then you can search in Spanish. All the things show up in Spanish. Number one, you can ask for a listing refresh that has been translated in Spanish because they haven't been manually done in years. And a lot of times they're bad. I can give you many examples where there was a 4-inch camera and they were actually in Spanish. It said there were 4 cameras.
Actually, Clayton, we did have Vanessa on yesterday during this event, and she actually shared the exact tips you are talking about right now. So if you want to fix the Spanish listing translation or add more Spanish keywords, then definitely head over to that session. And Vanessa gave like a killer presentation, like step-by-step guide how to exactly do that.
Yeah, and don't just do it in Spain. Don't just do it in Mexico and US. Do it if you're in Europe. Look at like German and Polish and French and everything. But yeah. Thanks for interrupting me because I didn't want to go on a tangent and waste people's time. Thank you.
And we will drop a link at the top to that video yesterday. And Emma, we have a question for you from Earl. How can you be an expert in copywriting for product listing? Do you have any techniques or tips that you can share for us? Please reveal your business model.
Well, expert is something that's achieved over a lot of practice and study. So copywriting is just like any other skill, that the more that you do it, the better that you're going to be. And you have to be comfortable doing poor jobs, and you have to be able to look critically at other people's work. I think that is the one skill that not enough people possess, that if you can get that right, even if you're not doing your own copywriting, it will serve you so well. Because if you can look critically at something and then communicate what's working, what's not working, and what you want, then you're going to be able to make sure that you are getting the outcome that you want. So I think it really starts there. As far as what an expert involves, it really involves being able to do the job that's needed to be done and do it in an effective and professional way. Some other do's and don'ts for copywriting, and what I would consider to be expert level, are things like understanding that balance of keywords. So it's not just about choosing the correct keywords, but then it's about how do you actually utilize those without overstuffing and creating a big mess for the customer. It's also really thinking about how text and imagery work together. Amy was talking about how the product images are a place where customers are spending a lot of time, and you want that in some ways to be kind of a condensed version of the highlights of your listing. And so thinking about how you can essentially make each one of those images into like a mini ad that is communicating a key piece of information. About a year ago, or maybe 9 months ago, Amazon was doing some testing of actually making the product images scrollable on the search results page. And it was just live for a short amount of time. But I have that in the back of my mind whenever I'm working on a listing or overseeing my team working on a listing, that's a change that Amazon could make at any time. And so how powerful must your product images be if you can really strategize those effectively, so that by the time that someone scrolls to the last image, they understand your product, they are excited about it, they know that it's a good fit for them, and then they can just buy it without ever clicking into your listing. That is huge. And so really thinking about all of those different elements in the customer journey, capturing attention. I mean, there's so many different skills that go into creating a listing that is well optimized.
All right, great answer. And actually, Earl was listening. Cool, karma, good karma points. And he says, thanks, Emma. Also, Angelo says, thanks for answering the previous question for him.
Yeah.
LISETT.
So let's take another one. We have good questions coming in. So what is your advice for someone launching a product that is not yet sold on Amazon or anywhere else? It is a pet product, so we are using keywords for complementary products. Do you have any thoughts? And Amy, maybe you have an answer or advice for that.
Hey, Lisa, I actually invented a never seen before pet product, and I created a new category and new keywords that, so I invented a litter box cleaner, and my 3D printout of my product is right here on my desk. And this was so crazy for me because I was like, I knew Amazon. I've been selling on Amazon since 2007. So over 15 years, I've been, and I'm really good at SEO because I have a background in cybersecurity. So, I'm a little bit of a tech nerd. I love the data just like Clayton does. And so I was thinking, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to name this product? How am I going to get the right keywords to actually get people to my listing? Because there isn't another product like this. So my advice for you, and I've actually become an expert at this because now, I help inventors all the time launch products and help people with product development and design, and all of that is part of my mission at Amazing at Home. So my advice for you is to find related products. Just like if you brought your product to Shark Tank and, they always look at reasonable alternatives on the market. Every product has competition. Every single product, it doesn't matter. Like for me, even though there's no other litter box cleaners on the market, there sure are litter boxes. There sure are scoops. There sure are other things that it competes with. So you need to think about, how do you talk about this product in a way that people who are searching for similar things in pets are going to find it? So is it an alternative to? Is it compatible with XYZ? So do that keyword research, and that's how you kind of plan your launch. And then remember that it's really important to communicate what the customer cares about. So I'm going to go back to data. I'm going to go back to resources like PickFu, where you can actually put your image up next to maybe some reasonable alternatives of your product. And you can ask customers in a survey. You can get over 100 responses in less than an hour. You can use Amazon's Mechanical Turk and do huge surveys that are very private, right? So that you're not giving up your idea. It's different than putting it on Kickstarter for the whole world to see, right? You're doing a very small audience, very targeted audience, and you can get an understanding of what don't they understand about your product. You could create a survey with a short video of your product on Mechanical Turk, and you could ask for responses there. And you would get a ton of insight as to what people don't understand. What I did with my product when I still had the prototype is I went to local markets and I just demonstrated it for people. And I got feedback, and I got people on my email list to launch. So that's my advice for you. And hopefully that's super helpful.
Yeah, Lisa says, wow. So she probably didn't expect that you have so much experience in that. So a question for Emma regarding copywriting. So a good old question, how long should each bullet point be?
We aim for around 200 characters a bullet. The reason that I like this length is because it is going to really force you to be thoughtful about every single word that you're using. Now, when I say that, they don't have to be that long. They can be shorter. Really, any writing is as long as it should be to get its point across and nothing more. So every time that you are writing a sentence, you should really be thinking about two things. Is this pushing my SEO strategy forward, or is this helping me communicate my product effectively and helping to push the sale forward? If it's not accomplishing either of those two things, then it probably shouldn't be there. There are so many kind of excess flowery words that people add in because they so what I was saying is that you really want to make sure that when you are writing about your product, you are communicating effectively. You're using the keywords that you need to, you're communicating the key point, and you're making it very skimmable. Because as Amy mentioned, people aren't reading your listing from top to bottom. They have some certain things that they need to understand about your product. And so you want to make it easy for them to find that information. And if you have very long bullets, it's going to make it more challenging for people to be able to find the information they need. And if they can't find it, they're not going to want to work super hard. So they're probably going to go over to a competitor who does a better job of making it easier for them to make a decision.
Thank you, Emma. I know you need to run, so thanks for your input. You will find, those who are listening, you will find a link to Emma's website below in the description of this video. And before you disconnect, can you remind how do you help Amazon sellers in case they want to connect with you?
Yes, so we can help you optimize your Amazon listings, create your brand stories, help you with your website copy. And we also offer a free analysis. So if you would like some help in figuring out if your listing is up to par, if it's able to do what it needs to do to be effective, you can go to our website and request a free analysis, and we're happy to take a look at it and provide you with some feedback about things that you can do to improve that. And then if you don't want to do that yourself, then we would be happy to help with that.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Let's take a selfie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And,
All right.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying the content so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and ask your questions still. If you're watching replay, don't forget that you have a comments section, and you can ask those questions, and we will ask later Emma, Clayton, or Amy to comment in the comments later if you're too late for the live stream. But now, Lisa.
Yeah, let's continue. I know Clayton wanted to address this one question we had before about the pet products, and you want to share some of your experience. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I think everything Amy said, and I hope my video is coming through pretty clean. I think everything Amy said was great, and then I wanted to add to it. She was talking about PickFu, which is great. Like, you should be asking in PickFu what people would call that new product, because maybe you think it should be called something, but if it's a brand new product and it starts being talked about, how are people searching that? Like, what terms are they using? If you don't know how to explain something, like a litter box cleaner, that seems pretty straightforward. I don't know how simple your product is, but if it's a new toy, you have a new name, that's why PickFu and things like that are really, really great. And then use that as a search term, of course, like use that as a keyword. Separately, I would say that this is a great opportunity, depending on the product, to like use influencers and leverage outside of Amazon traffic. TikTok specifically gets your product in the front of a lot of eyes for relatively cheap if you work with the correct influencers. And what's cool about it is I think a lot of influencers are looking for something new, not trying to just rehash the same old product. So people that are in this industry will probably be quite interested in something that was literally invented, that gives them like cooler, like, material to work with, saying this is a brand new product. It was just invented. And so I would say leverage outside influence. And last but not least, and I think this is a big one, and I thought of it whenever Amy was talking. If you have competitive products or similar compatible products, a thing that is really, really cool to do is to have somebody not necessarily compare products and say this one's the best and this one's the worst, but just say, I ordered 3 different things. I was curious about all of them. And your product will show up on those compatible products videos. So all those products can be tagged in the video, ASIN, ASIN, ASIN. So if somebody is searching on a more searched product, and maybe it's not a direct competitive product, but for an example of somebody looking for a litter box, if Amy did a video with her litter box cleaner and it showed up on somebody else's litter box, you're now going to be getting free clicks from a different listing onto your listing. And that's especially important for products that nobody knows that they exist or what they are. So that's a really good way to get some more eyes on it.
Yep. And you find those influencers by going to, for the multiple products in a video, by going to amazon.com/live. That's where you as a registered brand can do your own live videos, and you can compare them. but you can also go to amazon.com/live and find influencers that will feature your product and alongside others, which, as Clayton mentioned, then your product is really showing up on your competitors' pages as well. And that's very, very powerful.
Yeah. And I love this guy, consumerquest.online. He's really good. I've used him for my own products, and he's just solid. If you guys need an introduction, I'm happy to do it. He's in with like Shark Tank people. It's funny that you said Shark Tank earlier. He has done things for Shark Tank, but he's very affordable. And I mean, congrats on like creating a new product too. Like, best of luck to you. I hope you crush it. That's always exciting. And Amy, like, you're so like lucky that Amy was on this call too. Like, you're going through the exact same thing. Like, what are the chances? So that's just awesome.
What kind of inspiration to get from out of this session, right? So, okay, very good. Thank you so much for those great thoughts and insights. So let's take another question from Keith. So Keith is asking, being inclusive of having a good product, how do we troubleshoot why a listing is not converting and what needs to be fixed? I think low conversion rate is quite a common problem among Amazon sellers. So what can they do about it?
Yeah, I think that, and I'm sure Clayton will have some things to add to this as well, but you can utilize listing review services. Like Emma just talked about her listing review service. I also have a free listing review service. You can go to amazingathome.com and I'll review your listing, and let me know, what is it that, hey, I had this many sales and then this, right? So also, your business reports on Amazon are key. A lot of people do not use the data that Amazon provides them. You can go into your business reports on Amazon, underneath reports, go to business reports, and you can look at how many sessions you're getting. Sessions are how many times your product is showing up in search. You can see what your unit session percentage is month over month, which is essentially your conversion rate. So you might not be indexing well. Something else could be happening. And then the most practical tip I can give you is literally, if you can't find your product in search for your main keywords, neither can the customer. So a lot of people, they use, their dashboards in Helium 10 or whatever, and they're just looking at, hey, I got these keywords that I'm ranking for, and that's good. You should totally do that. But also, just at least once every, other week, pull up your listing, open up an incognito window on Google Chrome, whatever, pull up your listing on Amazon, not your listing, sorry, pull up your main keyword, right, on Amazon and see where your product is showing up. Look at the products around yours. Look at how many, did you just get a bad review? That could happen, right? Are you no longer showing up on page 1? Is your PPC not showing up? Can you find your ads? Like, a lot of people just look at their PPC data and don't even look at the placement of their ads. And so think about the customer's mindset and how they're searching for your product, and look and see. I saw one of my clients' products, they were on page 3 for one of their main keywords. And this was very relevant keyword. And I saw on page 1 that they would have beat every single product out there. So what I did is had them put that exact phrase right in their title. We changed it. It immediately moved them to page 1 for that keyword and tripled their sales overnight. So those are, and remember what I said about keeping keyword phrases intact, right? So really think about your SEO and your placement and your offer, and look at your listing just like a customer would, and make sure that they can find you, and then that you have a compelling offer where they can buy from you.
Cool. Yeah.
Great. I would add just a couple of quick things. Number one, like A/B test, as like, again, back to the data. If you think that there's an issue, test it and see if that's the issue, but don't test like 5 things at once. Change one thing, see if conversion changes. And then if it does, great. And then you continue to A/B test other things to tweak it. The other thing, and Amy was like spot on, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that seller.tools has a free extension that does like analyze your listing. I don't think that's enough. I always want a human set of eyes on it. Like, it's great to have a tool to lead you in the right direction. So there is a free extension. I recommend you use it and make like it has a ton of suggestions with A+ content and a bunch of other stuff, like more so than most listing analyzers. I think you can just save the person that you're going to put it to or give it to's time if you fix the very obvious stuff first. But then no matter what tool you're using, I still recommend you let other people see it. whether it's in a Facebook group that you're part of or a community, or you hire a service, or you work with Amy, she's got a free service, it sounds like. Get human eyeballs on it, because you're selling to humans.
Thank you very much, Clayton and Amy. I wanted to, so let's hide this one. Yeah. Let's take a short break just to mention to everyone watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, because if you enjoy these answers and it helps you to create more revenue and more sales and more profit, more important, in your Amazon business, don't forget to like. And of course, you will find contacts of these experts below in the description of this video. And talking about experts, this session is part of SellerFest online virtual event, where we have almost 30 Amazon experts sharing their knowledge. And besides all this knowledge being public, about 25 live streams, we also invited them to provide additional video. About 20 experts provided additional video, and we packaged all this into a VIP package, which you can check out with the link on the screen or in the description. And in this VIP package, we have different workshop style videos, step-by-step explanations, how to increase conversion rate by, let's say, finding out the problematic tacos, or finding virtual assistants in the Philippines, actionable information. Or Vanessa shares about how you can use some tricks to add Spanish keywords to your Amazon product listing, and some other great tips and tricks. So yeah, you will find the link below in the description to access this package. And now I think we still have a few questions, right?
Yeah, we do have. So let's take the next question from Jeff. So he's asking, do you agree title first, then bullet point keywords, I believe, then main image, then backend keywords, then main image, then bullets from optimization point of perspective. Where is A+ in this?
Okay, well, I think that title is very, very important. Keeping that, as I said, that very relevant medium to long tail keyword intact in your title. Backend keywords are those keywords that you have not used in your listing, so that are still relevant to your product. So I do backend keywords last, after I optimize everything else. So I do title and then bullet points. And my formula for bullet points for maximized SEO is pick 2. So every bullet point, I like to see 2 keyword phrases intact in order of most important to least important from your keyword research, right? So I write those bullet points first, and then I add the keywords, because I want them to be very readable. And everywhere I mention this cup or this thing, then I just replace that with a keyword phrase. But I do the title and bullet points, and I try to fit 90% of the SEO in the title and the bullet points. But something that's really awesome, and Clayton mentioned the Seller.Tools Chrome extension, which does this, like points this out even for your competitors listing. In your A+ content, you actually, in the alt text fields, and I'm sure Stephen Pope is talking about this in his listing optimization stuff, because he talks about this a lot with SEO, but you can also use keywords in those, in that alt text, because that does index. Your description and the text inside of your A+ content does index. However, it is the least important in terms of indexing and ranking, in terms of, organic ranking, right? So I would utilize the A+ content, and then backend keywords. Again, I do this last, and I focus on, and a lot of the tools will tell you what to put in your backend search terms. And we provide these backend search terms when we deliver a listing, and we have this blurb there that where we explain, because often people will say, well, why did you put yellow in my backend keywords if my product is red? Like, doesn't that mean that it's going to go to the top of page 1 for red, or for yellow, and then customers will get confused and they'll buy, and then I'll get returns? And no, the reason we put yellow is because when the customer is looking for this water bottle or whatever it is that you're selling, we did the keyword research and we saw that they're also looking for the color yellow. So using that in your backend keywords, the backend is where you can put those keywords that don't belong in the front end, but are still relevant to the main topic. So that's one of the biggest questions that I get there. So also your Spanish keywords and your misspellings, great places to put those backend words.
Yeah. Nailed it. I would say, and like based on your order, you asked where is A+ on this. I think Amy kind of answered that. Like A+ is like replacing your description. You still have your description that's indexing. Alt text, she nailed that. The only thing I would disagree with on here is like the importance of your main image. Your main image is like what people are mostly seeing. Like if you look at the heat map again, like Amy nailed it earlier, people respond to images, not text. So that's what's getting the clicks. So get a damn good main image. That is a highly suggested recommendation. And then how do you check your indexing? Seller Tools, the extension does it for free. You can index the entire listing. You can do it part by part with bullet points. You can refresh it and re-index it. It's all free. So seller.tools, there's other tools that do it well as well.
Okay, great insight. Thank you very much. So we are currently in Q4 and Q4 is coming all the time every year. So we have one question about holidays. So do you recommend updating the product listing copy and photos for holidays like Christmas, for example?
Oh, this is my favorite topic. I was just talking about this at a lot of the Q4 events. One thing to be aware of is that when you update like the title and text of your listing, you actually force a re-index of the search engine. So remember that you index for keywords based on search, based on PPC. If you're running Google ads or people come to your listing from external traffic, you index for keywords that way. So if you're indexed for a ton of keywords and you are going to refresh your entire listing, you better be ready to do like a mini relaunch with some traffic, okay? Because you're starting over essentially. Now, if you get tons of visits a day and your brand keyword gets tons of visits and you're already running really great traffic off of Amazon and on Amazon, you don't really have to be afraid to refresh your listing. But most sellers are not. Most sellers are only doing basic PPC and they're relying on that indexing to keep their product sales going. So I would specifically do the keyword research around the seasons. One of the big mistakes I see when I review listings is people say, this is a great gift for Christmas, birthday, New Year's, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all the days. If you try to rank for everything, you're going to rank for nothing. So I really need you to do the research, the specific gifting keyword research. Who is this a good gift for? Is this a great gift for fathers from their sons? Is this a great gift for mothers? Like, look for those medium to long tail gifting keywords that are highly relevant for your listing. And then if you don't want your whole listing to be re-indexed, you can always add on to a bullet point and put it in there and then run traffic to that keyword, or you can use the alt text. You could use backend search terms for that. But do the very specific research. And then when it comes to photos, as Clayton mentioned, photos are so important. So don't forget, you don't have to necessarily put a ribbon on your product. Represent the feeling that somebody gets when they're giving a gift, right? So, if it's a great gift for a baby shower, for example, show somebody at a baby shower holding a box, right? It doesn't even have to be, you're evoking that feeling. You're getting them to understand like, oh, wow, yes, my grandmother would love that. Like that, oh, I didn't even think about that. I need to get one for everyone. I need to get one for my teachers, all these people on my list. So sometimes just changing out a photo can really help you. But if you want to rank for that keyword, you need to have it somewhere in your listing, run traffic to it, and give it a couple of weeks to spin up, right? Because you're not going to be able to just rank on page 1 for gifts for women because you put that in your listing yesterday, right? So look at research the gifting keywords, look at the search results and see if your product would actually make it. I had somebody submit a listing to me the other day for review and they're like, I'm not making sales. I think I should rewrite this listing for gifting and I'm going to try to give it as a gift. And I was like, this is a consumable. I wouldn't really buy it as a gift, right? So really think about, who is this a good gift for and why? do that buyer research, look at other products that are being sold for that are ranked high for that keyword, and make sure that your product, that you have a really great offer that's going to convert. So that'd be my advice there. What do you got, Clayton?
Thanks, Amy. So I love everything you said. I think that the only thing I disagree with is that you must have a ribbon in the image or you will not get a single sale. It is a necessity. No, I do like Christmas up my products, and I've done some A/B testing. This is not surprising, but having a Christmas tree or like a very Christmassy feel helps. But if you have a person holding the box or holding the item with a smile on their face, that does better. So have like smiling, like people props, so that like if a mom's buying it and it's, probably for a son, have a son being like freaking out, super excited, right? Because that's what the mom's buying the gift for, is for her son's reaction, not for the gift. So, use emotion to your advantage. I was gonna say play on the emotions. That sounds bad. And then also interested to hear Amy's thoughts here, but a really good point about the re-indexing. And on the back end, there's always the opportunity to, put best Christmas gift or top Christmas gift. If it's not like, unless you got one of the most popular Christmas gifts of the season, like that's not going to be for most people. You're not going to rank for that anyway. So if you've spent all year, to Amy's point, ranking really hard for the right keywords that are going to make you money all year round, then don't just throw that away. If you do in the back end, if you have a more niche product that doesn't have that many search terms, definitely throw in like, kitty litter box gift or kitten gift or whatever. If you want to try some things like that, if you have the space and you have the room, definitely do it. Do it on the back end, do it on search terms, which are high as far as, the weight given based on the algorithm for search results anyways. But I like Christmasing up my photos, and I do it for fall too. I change stuff for Halloween. I get in the festive mood, and I think other people do too. So I think it works.
For sure.
All right. Thank you very much, Clayton. By the way, recently we had a video published about a few days ago with Clayton about where he explained some strategies and what to think about when you're preparing for Christmas and holiday season, which is approaching. This video is in mid of November and Christmas is just in 4 or 5 weeks. So check the video here somewhere at the top. It will pop up. So check this out. Also, our great experts, Amy and Clayton, they're representing companies, and we have links to those to Amazing at Home website and the Carbon 6 website as well, which has a lot of tools. We still have many questions. And of course, again, a reminder, if you enjoyed the session, like and subscribe. If you don't enjoy, also hit like. It helps us. And we are already about 50 minutes in the session. We still have 3 hours to go. So let's run through more questions. Keith.
I'm so excited about this question. This is one of my favorite questions of all.
Okay, so Clayton will be answering this then. Okay, the question is,
can you please mute Amy?
Okay, the question is, how do we optimize photos for listing? Any suggestions in terms of type of photos and details? Amy, ladies first.
Mute Clayton. No, Clayton, I know you're going to have some additions to this that are going to be awesome. But you guys, I have a 7 photo strategy that I just want to share with you, because on average, it gets people an increase in their conversions by 30% just by changing out their photos. We also had another question about, does changing your photos re-index the listing? No, it does not. So changing your photos is always welcome. That's a great way to optimize your listing on a regular basis. As Clayton said, get festive. But let's talk about your photos and how to do that. Your main photo, obviously we've already talked about that. You want to make sure you stick out on the page for your main keywords, right? Look at that page, see how can I stand out, do a mock-up, use Pixel, use data, just really make sure that you're standing out on your main photo. Then what I like to do is follow the customer mindset when they're making a buying decision. So I have this 7 photo strategy that I use, and I actually use this to write my bullet points too. And then I just have a photo that represents each bullet point. So bullet point number 1 and photo number 2 after the main photo is always, why should they buy this product and not your competition? So you're not comparing to your competition. You're calling out your unique selling point. So you're really thinking about, and even if you sell the same thing as somebody else, if I sell the same water bottle as somebody else, but I do a better job of connecting with the customer about how my water bottle is specially designed to keep that water cold for 6 to 8 hours, I can bet my competitor's not calling that out. And I'm just doing a better job of connecting with the customer and their emotion around buying that product. So even if you have a common product, if you just do a better job of explaining it in your second photo after your main image and in your first bullet point, you are going to just convert, right? But then what goes through the customer's mind after they say, is this for me? They look at is this for me? Oh yeah, it keeps the water cold. It's specially designed for that. This is cool. This is exactly what I'm looking for, right? But then they want to know what's in the box, right? So that your next bullet point should always be what's included. So talk about how big is it? What comes in the box? Like what's included with this, right? Does it have a straw? Does it have a cap, right? Talk about that and then show it in a photo. Show what's actually included. Maybe you're showing the dimensions, you're showing what's included, you're calling out those nice features of that product and benefits. But what's included is really important. Then in the sales process, what happens, right? If you're going to buy a car and you're like really interested and you're like, okay, yeah, is this car for me? Yes, this is my Lamborghini. I like it a lot. Then you want to know what's under the hood, right? What's included? Does it come with this stereo? Does it come with these speakers? Cool. Then what happens? What happens is then we get our first minute of doubt. We go, okay, wait, is there a warranty? Because this Lamborghini is going to break. It's going to be expensive to fix. What do I do, right? So your next bullet point and your next photo should represent the quality of your product or your warranty. I see so many people with like lifetime warranties or 5-year warranties, and they don't call that out in their product or in their photos at all. And this is when the first objection creeps in. So your next photo and your next bullet point should be talking about why it's not going to break and how you stand behind the quality of the product and how it's a really great product, right? So if you don't have a 5-year warranty, but you have quality materials, call that out. It's important, right? It's what customers care about. The next set is also objections, right? So after customers go, okay, I get it, it's not going to break, but I don't really need it. I can just keep using the water bottle or the Lamborghini I already have. I don't need a new one, right? So what you can do here is you can show them all the ways that this product fits in their life. Or if it doesn't have multiple uses, if you're selling like car headlights, right? You can show how easy it is to install, how easy it is to use, right? But your next bullet point should explain that, and you should have a photo representing it. And then finally, the last bullet point number 5, and your next photos, you can fit a lifestyle photo in there as well. But your last bullet point, I love to use this as a gifting bullet point. Specific for gifting, do those gifting keyword research. Don't just say it's a gift for everything, right? Like actually do your gifting research, use those keywords, keep them intact, show the photo of exactly what it's about, evoke that emotion. And again, if you're selling headlights, you probably are not going to sell that as a gift. So then you could also talk about your mission. So maybe your company has been selling headlights for 25 years. Maybe you've been featured in all these different, automotive magazines. This is a great place to say, hey, we're here for you. This is a trusted brand. We're real, all that kind of stuff. It's a great way to call that out. And then of course, just your lifestyle image. So that's my 7 photo strategy. And then you can take that, you can draft your bullet points, you can add your keywords, you can use that to represent your photos. And like I said, we've seen just incredible results. Just changing out photos to that exact order, it just converts like crazy.
All right.
My God, she was ready for that question.
I've
Incredible.
talked about that like a gazillion times. So
I honestly, like, if it's a legitimate 30% in conversion increase, I might have you take a look at my listing when we get off the call. That sounds literally incredible. Great answer. Mine's going to be way lamer, so get ready for it. I would just say high quality photos, show people using the product, which Amy already recommended. And last time I checked, this was still TOS compliant. If you offer buy 2, save 10%, nobody really ever sees that down in the listing. And so if you're on the second or I believe third photo, it's TOS compliant to say buy 2, save 10%, buy 3, save 15%. And you're even allowed to, if you have like bundles with other products, like do that. So Thrasio was doing that. I don't know if they still are, but they had a huge like increase in basket size increase whenever they started doing that. So that is just a way to quickly, if people are like, oh, I want 1, they're like, oh, save 10%. If I get 2, that immediately is going to give you higher ROI. You know, the FBA fee is less if you're shipping 2 products to the same address. Your profit per item goes up. Your basket size goes up. So not as cool as Amy's answer, but it works.
So good though. Like I love those tips. Awesome, Clayton.
All right. Where do we go from here? We have a few more questions. So those who are watching us live, please don't write more questions. We have no more time. But
No,
yeah.
actually, we love your questions and we love the active participation, but time is limited for this time. But if you do have more questions, you can post them. We just try to get either Clayton or Amy back to our channel and get answers to those questions as well. But yeah, people are really loving the session so far. Angela is saying this session is really amazing. I learned a lot. Thanks. And also we had this question, right?
Yeah, Angela.
So I believe that Amazon listing optimization is a constant process. So how do we set a schedule for optimizing your listing? So Clayton, you said you like to fine tune your listings a lot. So how would you answer this question?
Spill it out.
Yeah. So I know we're running out of time. I'll say a couple things quickly. I also saw a question from Jeff Allen. Yes, Seller Tools is part of Carbon 6. I'm with Carbon 6. No, like shamelessly plugging it. Yeah, it's a tool, but it's free. So like, why not use it? Another tool that like I use is AMZ Alert, and I use it to spy my competitors. And that's how I change my listing. If I'm happy with my conversion, the only things I do is set calendar reminders for holidays that I mostly like change the images for, which is mostly because of the products that I'm in, like Halloween and fall and like Thanksgiving, and then like Christmas. I've done stuff for like more summary things as well, but it just depends on your product. Set calendar invites, or calendar events on your calendar to remind you. And if you have a team, then invite them to that and then set a follow-up date, just regular calendar scheduling based on your product. Figure out where your spikes are by looking at your history or the history of your competitors. Know when there's spikes and understand that like if it's a big Halloween product that you need to get those images up before or when people start shopping for Halloween, not a week before, because people start thinking about it a month out or more. And then the AMZ alert thing, which I kind of lost my train of thought, is I get alerts when my competitors change stuff. So if you follow your competitors ASIN and they change their price, you get an update, which is super important. But you also get an update when they change their images or they change their copyright. So you can keep your eye on the target and be like, hey, what is my competition doing? Because I sell a lot of products and I don't have time to scrape every single listing to see what's changed. But if you use AMZ Alert, you get an alert when they change their image. So you can keep your ear to the ground and know what your competition is doing. And if it's good, then copy it. And if it's not, like let them go in the wrong direction.
Perfect. We have a question about caps locks. Are all caps locks still acceptable for the main benefits? So
Amazon has a style guide, right? It's not a TOS thing. Like people always say, that's against TOS. And it's in terms of your Amazon listing, when you're all capsing something or whatever, right? It's against a style guide. So it's not necessarily going to, it's not going to get your account suspended, right? It might get your listing suspended if you break one of those rules, right? They'll suppress your listing and then you'll have to correct it in order to get it back up again. I'm sure all of us have had issues like we change a main photo or something and all of a sudden the listing is suppressed, right? So all caps, I do still see people using this. However, Amazon updated their style guide over a year ago. I believe it was almost 2 years ago, to say that they did not allow all caps anymore. People are still using it. What we've done is we've changed to curly, like we use curly brackets and kind of a lead in, because it does make bullet points easier to read. We just no longer use the all caps to just kind of have an alternative to that. But I haven't noticed Amazon, the search engine, penalizing people for using all caps. And I think in some cases it does make the bullet point a little bit easier to read if you're using it as like a lead-in to the rest of the bullet point. But I haven't noticed Amazon actually penalizing people for continuing to use all caps. What about you, Clayton? Have you seen that?
I got some all caps in my listings. Seems to be good. No issues here. I don't run an agency, to be fair. So like, I have a limited sample size. I don't want to tell somebody to go do it and then them get in trouble, but it's working over here.
Okay. Very good.
Perfect.
Cool. So yeah, thank you so much for all of the good answers and for sharing your experience. Everyone is liking the session. No question, but you have all been great. Thank you. And we have another message from Earl. Thank you, Emma, Amy, Clayton, and the Orange Click team. This is a wonderful session. Keith is also very appreciative. Thanks for setting up this session and having these amazing guests. The content has been amazing.
And
Thanks,
also,
guys. You guys are
Angela,
amazing too.
thank
Yeah,
you
we have
so
one more.
much. Yeah, I hope we can jump on another session in this channel. Yes, of course. Don't forget to like and subscribe. First subscribe, and then you will get notifications. And I think we ran out of any time, American time, European time. So Clayton and non-Clayton, Emmy, please, one more time. What do you do and how do you help Amazon sellers? Gentlemen's first.
Okay. Yeah, I am a community ambassador at Carbon 6. That means I travel around a lot and help people be successful online. So if you guys have more questions, which it sounds like you guys might, I'm sure Amy's the same way. Connect with us on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Clayton Atchison. I would love to hear more of your questions. Maybe we can do another session in the future. But yeah, I help people be successful online, and I'm the community ambassador for Carbon 6.
Okay, great. And Amy, how about you?
Awesome. Well, I like my new name, non-Clayton.
We like to have some fun here.
Thank you guys so much for having me today. You guys, I am the founder of Amazing at Home e-commerce consulting. So whether you need consulting for your Amazon business or your e-commerce business, if you want help with product development, prototyping, sourcing, we got you covered every step of the way from concept to launch. And you can visit us at amazingathome.com. And then also, if you're interested in sourcing from Mexico, I co-founded the Evo Latam Expo, which is a great sourcing expo. We're hosting our next one in February in Monterrey. So you can meet suppliers in Mexico and diversify your supply chain.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, LISETT. And see you in the other side of of this
Thanks,
channel.
guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And now I would like to invite you to watch other video where you can learn how to audit your Amazon product listing quality and see other opportunities for higher conversions.